Call the meeting to order.
Okay.
And the first item on the agenda is a motion to enter closed session, AW KRS 61.1T, student expulsion.
I'll make a motion to enter closed session.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I reckon.
You reckon you oppose or you're for it?
Oh, Madam Chair, I agree with most of the things that you bring up.
Okay. The closed session.
I'll make a motion to enter closed
I
session.
need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Okay, since no action was taken in executive session, we can move on to the discussion of diagnostic review.
You are a little
I had
sick,
one
aren't you?
present.
Little horse.
Okay.
Just horse? Sick?
Oh,
Okay.
laryngitis.
Do you need an agenda for your class?
Proof evidence.
Yeah, and I just need somebody to sign my log after it's over with.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, this young lady called me, and she's one of my former students, and she needed to see a board meeting as part of her class work, and I invited her to this one since it was in 2 days. So, good girl.
Okay, the next item on the board is discussion of diagnostic review report 2015 with Ms. Carolyn.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Nice to see you again. I hopefully have organized our work to ensure that we go about an hour. The purpose of tonight's meeting, Superintendent asked that I come and speak with you and review the results and the findings, and that's part of my work. A couple things I want you to know, though, that tonight's work is a minimum of, it's just a beginning of where you need to go, where the work will lead you. It is an overview. How many's had a chance to look at it?
I've looked at it, yeah.
It's on KDE website, is one place. Secondly, I asked Ms. Sweeney, and she said she did send it out via email. And the sections, I'm sorry, I'm fighting allergies. The sections I'm going to go over with you this evening, friends, is I have those copied, and I have it marked for you, so that hopefully and prayerfully, I've been in meetings where they go to one page and I can't keep up with it, so I worked really hard for you, so don't be offended of highlights and those type things, to ensure that we stay on the same page. So why don't I go ahead and get started. Three things I want to do this evening. One, we will speak to each and every improvement priority to a degree. The standard 3, the first 3, is all about curriculum assessment instruction. I'll speak to you about that. And Miss Lisa will do some follow-up work with you because that's curriculum assessment instruction. It talks about what we've started, where we need to go as a team. Standard 4 is resources, and it speaks to the technology piece, that the infrastructure's not there. Okay, and we'll go over that. There's 2 significant priorities, improvement priorities, that is directed to the B.O.E. as the governing body. And then we'll get into that, and there'll be a time for you to speak to your questions. I've asked Ms. Carolyn to note in the record or the minutes to ensure, if I cannot answer your question, that I get to someone who can and get back to you. Is that fair enough? Okay. All right. Now, the first sheet that I'm going to hand out to you, and you'll see my little different, I'm an elementary teacher, and it's got it numbered at the bottom. I've got your improvement priorities highlighted and all those things. Sir? Sir? If I get out of order, I won't be able to function. I've got some copies for the audience.
I need one.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Please forgive
No
me.
big deal.
There's some copies here. It's just, like I say, I pulled it out. You can find all the information on KDE under Martin District. Okay. As well, people in the audience, did you ask them to sign in, Miss Caroline? At some point, if you don't care before you leave. And do you have an agenda? You're welcome to have it if you wish. And I'm sorry, I keep looking at the board, just trying to, our time together is very small and everything, so please don't be anything, ask as you need. All right, the first set of papers I handed you out is just basically the improvement priorities. And let's look at the first one. I've got it highlighted for you, and it starts on page 17 and that type thing. And it talks about create, implement, and regularly monitor planning and implementation of instruction to ensure that teachers throughout the school system engage students in their learning through instructional strategies, and it gives some examples, that result in the achievement of learning expectations. A couple of things, and I'm summarizing. It's there for you to read. I put a highlighter out for you in case you need to highlight. But what happened is Standard 3 is based upon Elliott data, the walkthrough data. It was looked at the high school predominantly, on the student report card, on their achievement. Now, let's note and celebrate that the high school has made improvement, friends. They have. And we are to celebrate that. But have they met all of our state benchmarks and those type things yet? No, we haven't. Not yet. So they're saying there's improvement, but we've not yet met this or that. We've not met graduation rate, the state graduation rate. We did meet the cohort one, and that's a whole other thing. But when you see that improvement priority, it's talking about predominantly your high school, your PLA school that has exited and has done wonderful work. Under the improvement priorities, it talks to you about evidence and rationale, the ways that they come to determine these 9 or 10 people from varying states and different backgrounds of education. So it just, I'm not going to go over a lot of that stakeholder survey data. You know, there was a survey sent out to parents, to community, to staff, so they take all of that and then they come up with a finding. Okay? Miss Lisa will lead us and guide us more about that later. Let's go to page 2. It says improvement priority 2, and it continues with curriculum assessment and instruction. Develop systematically. Now on the first improvement priority, I want you to kind of highlight the word regularly. When we audit, we look for regular, consistent, continuous. It's on I flash back to the first improvement priority where it says create, implement, and regularly monitor. I just want to bring your attention to some words. We might be doing it. We might have started out doing a great job, and I assure you those things are in place. But are they yet regular and consistent, not only at the high school, but across this district? And if they are being regularly monitored and conducted, does Martin County student achievement support it. You see what I'm saying? We can have wonderful plans, and we could do this and we could do that, but if our student achievement data is not where it should be, then at the end of the day, we've not arrived yet, have we? And that's what it is. And it's not a bad thing. They give you credit as a school and as a district for all the good, solid things that you're doing. If you read all of the audit, you'll see that they say significant, intentional practices has been began, but they are in the early stage or whatever. You'll find that. On page 2, improvement priority, it says develop, systematically implement. There's you another highlight word, because systematically implement. We do it as natural as getting up and brushing our teeth. The improvement priority is down at the bottom of the page. And evaluate the effectiveness of system and school supervision, monitoring and evaluation procedures, including the full and effective implementation of professional growth and effectiveness system, and ensure that the ongoing implementation of these procedures are guided by improvement, instructional practices, and student success. What does that mean? Professional growth and effectiveness is the new teacher evaluation system, isn't it? I'm sure that you've looked at the superintendent's new evaluation system handed down from KDE. You know, that new evaluation system is in the district CPE. It had to be approved by KDE. So not only do you have one area that you might look at, you have to look at the new evaluation system as well. We're going to talk a little bit about how do we evaluate, who gets evaluated, and how they get evaluated. How does students get evaluated? Okay, test scores, what else? Anybody?
Grades.
Formative assessment, quiz, raising their hands. Teachers are constantly checking homework, how they write, those type of things. How does your teachers get scored or evaluated? How do we know they're performing like they should be?
That's an interesting question.
Huh?
That's a good question.
TGES.
The PGES, yes, the professional growth and sir, yes, effectiveness system is the PGES system.
Student scores.
Student scores, but the PGS system is huge. I mean, if you've even had one moment to look at it, and I keep looking at all the educators in the room, it's all different. It's really big. I've been working with the principal on, and Dr. Laney, who just left, is excellent with the PGS system. Opinion mine and his paperwork, his evaluation process is exemplary. He coaches and feeds back and that type of thing. I know that firsthand because I've seen it, I've watched it. The newest system, that is one way because it really drills down to what the teacher is doing. And at the end of the day, what are we doing, and do we have some kind of measurement data that says it's effective? So we've looked at student effectiveness, we've looked at teacher effectiveness. Now, what, sir, superintendent, how do we know our principals are effective? We have a new, yes sir, PPGES system that has to be watched, has to be gone over, and that's in place, so they're getting evaluated that way. Another way we evaluate them or measure their success and survey, isn't it? I mean, parent community survey is another tool.
I got a question about this community survey or stakeholder survey. Exactly how does the team or do the people in charge of giving those surveys decide who gets those surveys?
Oh, those surveys, I can answer that one.
Sure.
Those surveys is, those was based on Sheldon Clark High Schools, and I'm the one that helped assisted Dr. Laney in getting Terry
Simpkins.
Simpson.
Simpson.
She was awesome. I come in July. He didn't have anyone to help him. You know, they pulled the ER team out, and they had asked me to come and work with the district. And so I said, here's the survey. You've got to put it out and make sure everybody has access to it. So Terry, you can ask Terry or Dr. Lang that question too. They send out messages, they put it on the web, and when kids come to sign up for their classes, they ask parents to come in. We brought laptops up, and they did a really good job. I think it was like over 200 of your members, community members that went in and took the survey. And I'm proud of that, folks, because that was a lot of work on, it was on Terry's part and Dr. Laney's part, and I'm real proud of that.
I just wondered if it were, if it happens to be a selected group of people.
All people, you can ask Terry how, they even down at the cookout or whatever, they was begging people to take surveys and those type things.
And the students' surveys, how are they?
All students.
All of them are surveyed?
Yes, sir. That is the ultimate goal. Now, if they're on homebound, you can look at the number that took the survey and how many's at the high school. And I'm just real proud of it because we all work together. I just took down, I said, okay, this is the first thing we have to do because the law says everybody gets access and all that, and then the teachers have to take it. So I'm real proud of that. That's a good question.
Okay.
But it has to go out to everybody. Did it go to every single person in your district? I can't answer that. All I can say we sent out this many and we got 200 back, and they come back, you don't know who they are. So.
Well, I noticed some of the student survey questions and parents didn't match. Being asked the same question.
Well, if you'll read those,
percentage, yeah.
Yes, sir. If you'll read those questions, they're tough questions.
Yeah.
And teachers don't talk to the kids about, to my knowledge, I never seen any influence or whatever. And it's about what? Interpretation. All of us might read the same question and have a different opinion, and that's what it is. And it's according to my attitude. My attitude, if I'm mad at you that day, I'll probably roast you by the end of the day in some form or fashion. That's just human nature. We love to roast. So, but that's just the truth.
Yeah.
I'm kind of trying to be light about it, but there could be an upset. It could be, and let me tell you, I've been up to high school enough, and in these high schools, there's a lot of stuff going on, folks, besides taking a survey.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff our teachers and our students and the administrations, and I'm not going to preach, I'm supposed to. All right, page 3 is just, it goes ahead and talks to you about how they come up with the data. And I'm way behind schedule. Number 4, look at page 4, improvement priority. This is the last of the curriculum assessment instruction. It says, further develop curriculum content and devise processes for system and school leaders to consistently monitor the systematic implementation of the required curriculum. How are we ensuring that curriculum is being, our kids are getting the curriculum every single day? How do we know that everybody in our district is using our curriculum, our core content to get to all students systematically, as natural as getting up brushing your teeth? How are we checking for higher level questioning? We conducted Elliott walkthroughs today, and if you look at that instrument, I don't mean to throw a whole lot at you, it says the student has opportunity to answer higher order questions and those type things. So those are just some tools to get that job done in that improvement priority. So we went to curriculum assessment instruction. And those are, remember, let the records reflect, CAI will be, Miss Lisa will continue to lead us in that. And I'll help her as she would like or need. The last one before we get to the the BOE directed ones, it talks about, it's on page 6, update and implement the components of the district technology plan to address the need for significant improvement to technology infrastructure, including wireless connectivity, to support the teaching, learning, and operational needs of the school system. I'm sure that each of you could answer a lot more than me about what you're currently doing, what your current plan is to ensure that all students, all teachers have access to an infrastructure that runs computers
Yeah, from what
and.
I can hear, Shelton Clark's not equipped, well, the school up there isn't equipped for it. Can't handle the load.
I don't know enough about that to speak to that. I know that in, like credit recovery, it's running Plato. What else did I see? I can't answer that, Mr. Ball. I don't know nothing about it.
The improvement to the technology infrastructure includes wireless connectivity,
Yes.
to support so there's a problem there.
Absolutely, and it talks about, thank you for pointing that out, classroom option.
Carol, let me address
Sir,
that.
please.
The load comes from, if I walk, or if you walk into Shelton Park High School, or really any of our buildings that have Wi-Fi, your phone is gonna hit the grid automatically. And that's the biggest challenge, the load on our Wi-Fi, our wireless. Of course, hardware, you know, we have capability and capacity for any resource or any instruction or content delivery that we need, and access to the internet. It's just the Wi-Fi that is open, and we're working on locking down the grid to where, you know, if someone comes in, it does not automatically hit our Wi-Fi. Because when teachers try to get on there and deliver it through, you know, if they have a mobile lab, mobile cart lab, that they're trying to do a lesson, especially in their assessments, formative assessments, summative assessments, that the grid is kind of clogged up. It's like a traffic system. Once it gets clogged up, it doesn't handle anymore.
Well, and I'll add to that, and that's what gets you those low ratings like today when we looked at digital use or basically anywhere. You know, you don't see a lot of student digital use, and it could be as part of that. And the diagnostic review team spoke to that in your findings.
That's, you know, what's odd to me is that, you know, we've had Dr. Laney here, and was that a problem last year, Nina, when you were there?
Yeah, it's much worse at that school than at the other high school.
High school.
That middle school just doesn't have the capability
Okay.
that they had.
Okay.
So, and I know that you'll be working on that, and you'll.
Well, that was one of the things, is to get the students or visitors to the building off the grid without a password to get on our Wi-Fi is one of the things that will address this. The other one is that the board's already taken action to give us, the district, another computer technician support.
Okay.
So.
Well, yeah, but, well, you know, my question was,
Well, didn't we do something, I'm sorry, did we also do something to make it bigger and more?
Oh,
Because
yes,
he said it was
right.
like 2,000 or something?
Yeah.
Did we not?
I know you've done some kind of work.
Yes.
Rossi here the other night, he said that it just wasn't big enough. Remember?
Yeah, you've done some, I mean, because,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah,
reason
the state is bringing that through for us.
okay, well, the state is, well, I'm thinking,
Okay.
you know, we were told there was a problem with, you know, the infrastructure, the technology. I didn't know that another person was needed for that, you know.
Well, if
To
you look
address, you know, the problem, which you had said in the meeting that would help our problems in, you know, as far as the, you know, computer technology and all that, you know, the infrastructure, and I'm looking, well, you know, according to this, it's not a personnel problem, it's a infrastructure problem, right?
Yeah.
And that's,
Well, it states that technology resources and infrastructure are insufficient, so.
okay, well,
But I thought Rossi said we were getting ready to make all that bigger.
Yes, the infrastructure itself, the hardware, the Wi-Fi, all that, yes.
well, it'd be nice to find out what you know, what they mean by resources. Does that mean new people or equipment? I mean, resources could be equipment or what? I don't know, but I mean, it's.
well, I would think that would fall under the governing board to determine, because financial resources certainly under your.
Well, it'd be, yeah, well.
That would be, sounds like that's a board determination
board
for
decision.
another meeting, maybe.
Some of the big things I notice is, of course, not using it for research purposes.
Yeah,
Technology.
yeah, and we don't know if they're not using it because what, we don't know yet. why. So remember that tonight, we're just going to kind of skim it
Yeah,
because it's huge. And if you remember, last year, for those of us, you that worked through the whole thing, we did an overview and then we took one thing at a time until we were satisfied that we had knowledge about it and those type of things. That's what it's going to take. I'm not looking or asking you to have more of your time. That's up between you all. That's totally how you deal with those things. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to page 7. And these are, there's two, this is really the bulk of our work. It says, on page 7, develop and implement policies to ensure. Now, I want you to do me a favor and highlight any areas that you think might be action specific, or what you might need to, what a next step might be for the governing board, or a question or whatever. Develop and implement policies to ensure members of the governing body participate in an annual formal professional development regarding their roles and responsibilities beyond the minimum state requirements, and ensure the training emphasizes the need for the Board of Education to function as a cohesive unit for the benefit of what? Student learning and effective system operations, including the following. A, the roles and responsibilities of the governing body and its individual members. B, orderly resolution of conflicts. C, systematic decision-making processes. And D, board's responsibility in providing appropriate oversight of physical resources. Now, when you go down to their evidences of these 9 to 10 auditors, it says the stakeholder survey data, and then you look at the interviews, and then documents and artifacts, minutes, excuse me, not only your minutes, but your Board of Education is videoed, your meetings are, so 4 to 6 ways to look at how do you govern yourself to be effective for student achievement. How do we do that is the question. And I'm not going to read every single thing here.
I think the one that really disappointed me, or the most disturbing to me,
Okay.
was, of course, under stakeholders' interviews,
Okay.
was the thing in which I think most of us as board members, as far as concerns about kids, and where it states parents and community members who were interviewed consistently communicated the board does not represent the concerns and needs of students, which in my district, which I think I represent as far as the people there, and it's just I feel like I've let them down. Families or the community as a whole says these external stakeholders expressed concern that board members were not appropriately focused on improvement of student performance as the chief priority.
There were 86 or 87 stakeholders interviewed. And that's a very good point, and that's the question. You have to ask yourself, one, is this us? Do we own it? Is there any truth to it? If there is, do we want to get better? How are we going to get better? Can we agree on how to devise a plan how to get better? Do we, what is it that we want this to guide us to do? Whether or not we agree or not, it's what's been said. And let the minutes reflect this. Improvement priorities are not friends' suggestions. What are they? You know my word.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Improvement priorities are not suggestions, they're what?
The recommendation.
Not recommendations, what's my favorite word? Mandate shall, it's a
Yeah,
shall.
it's a shall.
Shall.
Okay, yeah.
I want you to know that, it's a shall. I'm not saying you have to let, what time I have left here, you want me to work with you. I'm saying, at the end of the day, what is the next step of your work to address these things? Because 87 people said these type things about. And then, based on reviewing of minutes, based on reviewing the videos, and etc., all of that coupled together, come up with this perception or finding or rating, whatever you want to call it. So it's...
It was pretty blistering to me, and I'm thinking, well, I do this, I push for this, I push for that.
You know what word you keep using? What is the word? I'm going to challenge you. What's the word?
I know.
It's I. You're a what?
We're a unit.
You're a what?
We're a we.
Until you act as a what? As a unified governing body
Cohesive body, yeah.
that says, I may not agree with what you say, but I can be professional enough and should be respected to have my opinion. Yes or no?
Let's put it this way.
And do we, just a second, do we have a written process or protocol that says, and chairman of the board, I've been reviewing and researching what you can do. If at any point in time this governing body is not on the agenda, is what, and I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but it says the chair can what? Call to order, move to number 5. I can show you, I've been into your own responsibilities and duties, trying to understand your job to help me to do the best job I can in helping build whatever plan that we need to do together. I'm a resource. I want to help. I'm proud that you regained your capacity.
Can I say something?
Please.
Okay. I think what you're seeing here is a board that is in transition from, we have never, in my opinion, okay, this is my opinion, I don't think the board in Martin County has ever governed, actually dating back, from the days back to Sheldon Clark up until now, has really understood its role in governing. And I think we're going through some growing pains in the sense that well, there's some things here that...
Are you in the full audit?
Yeah, well, I'm going back to some things that I'm looking at. Okay, for this example.
Can you tell me what page you're on, sir?
Yeah, I'm on page 25, okay?
Wait, you mean page?
Yeah, well, it's 25, the audit, and it would be...
page 8 of mine.
Page 8 here, yeah.
Thank you for the intervention, Mr. McCoy.
Okay, when you go under the evidence and rationale, you go to the last sentence, and so the majority of staff cannot confirm that the governing body operates in a manner which respects and is protective of the superintendent and other administrators from carrying out their managerial roles.
Yes, I had that highlighted.
Okay, then you got the other things, parents, okay, the next thing, parent and community members' interviews consistently reveal that the board conducts business in a manner that frequently impedes district and school leadership from completing assigned duties. Interviewees provided numerous examples of Board of Education appearing to intentionally undermine the authority of the superintendent, school leaders, and cited specific incidents of individual board members using their positions to influence administration decision-making. Okay, let me say this. As I say, the board is learning to govern. I'm aware of the state audit, some of the things that come out of the state audits of Dayton Independent School District, Breathitt County, and all this stuff here. And that I think kind of was the help spark a lot of this stuff. I differ in that boards haven't. There is I would argue this. There is a at least for my position, not a suspicion, or not a, it's a caution to make sure that I do my job as a board member, and to support the superintendent and support, administrators when things are done right. Keep in mind that this board, at one time, under the previous administration, actually negotiated, signed a contract, violating their own policy, and according to an attorney general's opinion, even violated the Open Meetings Act in doing so. A year before the last contract expired with the superintendent, this board approved signing of a contract, even though the policy says that you cannot negotiate a contract and sign it if during the time that the contract is negotiated until it begins, the term of any board member should expire. Well, we did. It did do that. And it did it with the advice of counsel. I mean, they had they had attorneys and stuff that did that, and they did it. They violated. Yeah, that did happen.
I know, but so your point in bringing that
My
to
point
this,
in bringing this up is that the board can only act on information that it receives. And we're not saying that's the case now, but we're saying that has been the case in the past.
well,
And board members have been. We are making sure that we get all the information that we can get before coming to decisions.
well, and that's a great point, because that let me tell you how to get that done. You as a governing body determine how you want those things done.
Yeah.
You put it in written process and protocol, and a chairperson and vice chair. It does not happen unless it goes through that process and protocol, right? It is that simple.
It's that simple.
It is that simple. Now, I've looked at the law and the governing things. I don't know all that you have to be nervous about ensuring that you address the law. I've not been a board member, not pretending I have been. But I assure you, there are clear ways of process and protocol to say, if you've got something that you need to get to the board, there should be a chain of command in the way that happens. Because, let me show you, and I can't talk without my hands, but the B.O.E. is here as a governing body. You're a layer. And then you hire the superintendent, and the superintendent at the district level is another layer. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. They may disagree. It's a layer. Then you have your what's next.
You have your administrators.
Your principals or superintendent and the district level people, the director, pupil, personnel, and all those right here. And then your principals. And then you've got teacher leaders, and you see that?
Yeah.
So the governing body up here, you have these policies and duties and responsibilities of each person. Then you say how the chain of command, if a principal wants da-da-da, and then the superintendent, you all create those policies together, correct? And stop me, because I don't know the law as good as you all.
Boards create policies, the superintendent implements.
Carry them out.
procedures.
Okay, all right. So if it's a requisition, I don't know, I'm not doing a good job.
No, you're doing great.
Watch him laugh at me.
No, you're doing fine.
Okay. If there's something like that, then everyone who needs the what submits it on this form to the who, and then it gets to the who, and then it's submitted to the governing body or something like that, right? And I'm obviously showing you I do not know all of your roles and responsibilities. But I do know this, that you must intentionally attack what it says here as an improvement priority, whether we agree with it or not.
Yeah.
You need to self-reflect and say, I dare you to not dare you. It's, I challenge you to maybe watch one of your challenging meetings together and say, we did this well, and man, we need improvement here, because I promise you, every time I see myself do a presentation or teach something, I go to the house and go, man, what am I doing?
You could do better.
You know, those type things. Self-assess. Where I was going a while ago, everybody's got an evaluation system. What evaluation system do you have as a governing body? Who evaluates you?
Our voters.
Your voters.
Constituents,
Is that the only people?
No, that should be.
How do you evaluate yourself? How do you know you're doing a good job, Gary Bond? How do you know that this governing body's doing a good job? Just play with me here.
The only way that you can know is if you're effective.
How?
Okay, go ahead. If you're effective in doing your duty according to the law, and if your school's improving. I think that's...
So you're saying if I stay within regulation and I don't get sued or whatever, then I'm doing okay. And then if, by all means, if our achievement's up, then we're doing a pretty good job. And at the end of the day, or end of the term, if I get reelected, then I must have done a pretty good job, right? Politics has its place.
Yeah.
You're an elected people, correct?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay? That's not unfortunate.
No, it's not
The
unfortunate.
people has a voice, and they should. However, everybody needs to understand that the only reason we serve is not to be reelected again, or to have our own personal individual agenda. Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
Because at the end of the day, I have to ask myself, what did you do for the students in Martin County? And I promise you, I assure you, that that gets done every day on my drive home. Sometimes I don't have a good answer and I don't like it. At the end of the day, what have you done? And you, and you, and you, every meeting, what have you done cohesively as a team to get to student achievement? Because guys, you're the only advocates for the children in Martin County. So how are you going to model what that should look like? And you play a role in that. And you should be a team and have a way to assess. How do you agree to disagree?
Resolve conflict, yeah. Right.
How do you do it? You're not doing. You know, it's not happening according to the videos and according to what is it? Am I wrong? Stop me at any point there. I'm wrong.
I will. It is changing in this sense. If you watched, some of the videos.
I have.
Yeah. There's someone that's no longer with us. If you watched one in particular,
January and February. I've not them, March or April.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
I know if you've watched them since.
Well, you haven't seen some of the real old ones.
And I'm not a critique.
So can you come every day? Can you come every day and give us this speech?
Well, listen, so what? And I'm going all over the place. But let me tell you, who's doing the, I am doing a lot of talking, but you know what? Listen to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody. Is there anybody on here that goes, you know what, Miss Bonner, you just go on to the house because I've arrived. I'm the best board member that Martin County could possibly have.
No, I want you to stay here all the time.
But, I mean, has any of us, can I hear anybody say they've arrived at anything?
No.
I'm 58 years old, and I assure you I've not arrived at anything. I have not arrived. Continuously improve. We're not there yet. If we was, our kids would be distinguished.
Yeah.
Everybody would feel safe and secure, and would be unified. I used to tell my staff, I'm not asking you to love me. I hope you do at the end of my time here. We will respect.
Yeah.
Can we do that? Can we just have a respect? And I'm preaching, and you might just go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well,
You ready for me to go to the house?
Well,
Go ahead. Preach that respect.
Well, the thing I was talking about, I think the board is going through growing pains. I mean, please understand, I'm not saying none of us has arrived. I don't think that we have, that we've clearly understood our roles as far as being, all of these things as far as managerial. Even the board has a part in that. And at all of that there has to be respect all the way around. And that's the thing I'm saying, it's really tough to be,
But how do we make sure things are getting done? I mean, we're board members.
Yeah.
How do we make sure?
What things? The very thing I would say, what are the
Like
things
the
that you have to
principal
ensure?
assessments, the teacher assessments, everything's going the way it's supposed to go. I mean, how are we supposed to know that?
Okay, I can tell you.
How are we
That
supposed
is
to make
so
sure that's
easy.
getting done?
That is so easy. You say, here's the timeline, and we've already got timelines, that your certified professional evaluation system, friends, timelines are already there. When this is done, somebody what? Reports it to who? Yeah, right? Any other suggestions? I mean, so much of this is already there in policy, in protocol, and help me, and the reason I look at superintendent is because I've worked at the district level for a year now, so I know what the layers of curriculum and those layers look like. I've had my hands right in helping to do it. So you make a list of what needs monitored or what needs to be done, and then we go from there. We build an action plan. It's so easy. Most of it's already being done. What is it that they're saying, or your roles and responsibilities? I know you've got these packets. It tells you a whole lot what you can and can't do, right? What you should be governing, what policies you should have, and this right here is your next steps.
Ms. Bingley,
Sir.
I'm 59 years old. And,
Good, I'm glad to know you're older than me.
You know, you can tell it. You know, you look a lot younger than me.
I was shocked that you said.
But,
It ain't working for you. Can't do nothing for you.
Anyway, I have arrived at one facet of my life, only one.
Okay.
And it goes with me wherever I go, whether it is I'm being a member of the Board of Education, or whether it's deciding which soup to fix at Metro Billy's. I rise above any person or any industry or any faction that is trying to manipulate anything that I do, whether it is manipulation of the school board and policies of that school board, or whether it's manipulation of what soup I should fix. I am not afraid.
Okay, good. I mean, that's great.
It's very important to me. It's very important. It's spiritual to me.
Yes, sir, and I honor that.
Yeah. But that's the only place I've arrived.
That's,
You know, the kids are first here.
Should be.
They
The
should
kids
be.
are first.
That's right.
That's why I said before, it's pride. Sometimes we get sidetracked on it. But like you said, our main priority, to me,
Please.
is the safety of our children should come first.
Okay.
Prioritize, make your priority list, and then second to me is a quality education for all kids. And I mean, by quality education, it's all around. That includes athletics and the whole ball of wax. You know, it's just, then from there on, you can probably put other things, but that's the two main important things.
So-
I think we should
And
focus on.
the most important thing you have said tonight, ma'am, I'm telling you, is that the board is the governing body. And I hope that each and every one of us remember that and work as a team, that we are in charge and we're going to be blamed, or no, of course we're not going to get any credit.
Yeah.
But that's all right. But I mean, we are in charge, not any outside interests.
Well,
Boards,
I think.
your gut, and this is probably going down a road that I don't need to go down.
Oh, let's go down.
Well, no, I don't know that that's my job to go down it with you.
Okay, it's okay. I've already been there and back.
In all due respect, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And my point is, the whole point is that this audit says that we don't work cohesively. You might, hallelujah, you're a governing body, but in word only so far.
Yeah.
You've not arrived in how you work as a team. You've not. You don't have a process and protocol. And it don't, when you work as a governing body, doesn't mean that you all agree on what color dress I've got on.
Yeah.
So don't ever say, you're a wonderful board member as long as you agree with me. Because I got, you know, and not that you would. Guys, it's not the first board I've worked with.
Yeah.
And I'm not accusing, I'm saying we all got problems that we have to solve it. You know what? You're the ones that have to solve these problems.
Well, we have 2 new board members too.
Yes.
What's
So we're going to talk about a tool that I'm going to leave you that I know you, so since January, here's a tool you can start self and assess how you're doing. Excuse me, my mouse dry. So, that improve, implement, and communicate policies and practices that ensure the governing body consistently protects, you might need to highlight that one, supports and respects autonomy of system and school leadership through transparent and open review, confirm and continuously evaluate the effectiveness of these policies and practices to make certain they allow district and school leadership to accomplish goals to increase student achievement, improve instructional practices, and manage the day-to-day operations of the system and its schools effectively. You're the governing body, but there's a whole system that has to run out there. And your governing body says that those you govern by watching over fiscal resources, over student achievement, and those type of things. But you do it as a unified body, not individually. Down there in, have we already spoke to the Board of Education's actions distract from the need of Martin County schools to focus on student achievement? Did we read that already? The Board of Education does not conduct business in a way that represents the needs and voices of the constituents they represent. That's on page 25. District and school staff also communicated that the school board directly and indirectly encourages employees to present grievances directly to the Board of Education members rather than through their appropriate chain of command. Do we have a chain of command of how those things come to this body? And if you don't, that is something you can work on.
I can't think of an example where that's happened.
And you may not agree with every single thing, you know. You may not have an instance. I don't know. I can't speak for them. I'm just going over the review.
Okay.
I
can't think of where somebody's...
My question is, ma'am, on all this is that I need more. I need to know examples similar to what Mr. Ball was talking about where did that happen, and you know, because I was just new on this board and fresh by, I don't know, 15 days or so, and
yes, sir.
You know, they didn't get me, but I would like to know what any of the individual board members did on this board that violated something, so I don't violate it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, all I can tell you, and Carolyn, you can reflect that, and I will see if I can get but what they've done is they've set the improvement priority, and they give you evidence and rationale from stakeholder surveys, stakeholder interviews, and then a review of documents and artifacts. So, board, it says there is limited evidence that the board has policies that clearly define the roles of the school board and its members and those of school and district leadership. Documentation of training for board members regarding the separation of the board's policy-making authority and that of district and school administration to manage day-to-day operations was not provided to the team for review. In addition, during interviews, some board members were not able to accurately articulate an understanding of the distinction between the roles of the board members and roles of district or school leaders. Interviews, as well as the recordings of the Martin County Board of Education meetings, revealed examples of interviews, as well as recordings, revealed examples of board interference, including involvement in individual personnel matters and use of public board meetings to issue personal attacks against school and district personnel. One stakeholder stated, "The board's focus is on adult issues and conflicts, not on improvement in student learning and instruction." This opinion was reiterated by several stakeholders. That is this big team's finding from minutes, interviews, surveys. They say what they looked at to come to that finding.
When were these surveys given? Time frame?
The stakeholder surveys were given when, I can get the date for you, probably from Dr. Laney, and Terry Simpkins.
I just need
Is in July, I can assure you.
July of?
Okay.
Of 14.
Of 14.
Last year, okay.
Yeah, she said
Okay.
when the class schedules were given out, that's kind of.
So we had to find a way to get as many parents as we can, so that was the best way to do it. Okay, all right, I'm hurrying.
Okay.
Okay, I'm good. Okay. Let's go to, and I'm sorry to do all the talking. I had activities for you all to do. Let's look at page 10, let's look at the conclusion, and then I'm going to talk to you about a couple of tools you can use, and then give you time to talk about what you believe is the Board of Education's next steps. It's a very important point that Mr. McCoy said, some of you just come on. That's a very important point. However, it's just like when I first met Mr. Meadows, I said, the first thing I asked for him, I said, "Superintendent, you have about 17 improvement priorities for your district. That's what I'm going to work from." He said, "You mean these?" And he pulled them out. Because I said, while you and your administration didn't, and you know, that was before your time, when you signed the dotted line, you took those on. You owned them. He said, "Yes, ma'am." And those type of things. So that's what we do. Core principles, Dr. Laney signed on, and I mean, you know, we can go on and on and on, but we need to honor that. We need to build a cohesive team, and I look at people before me, and I feel confident that because you've already spoke some of the things that you want to work on. On the conclusion page, which is page 10, and I hate to stand and read to you. Sometimes when somebody else reads it, it kind of helps. It may not. It's the teacher in me. But it says, "The leadership and staff of the Martin County School District are united in their commitment to bringing value to Martin County education. Staff, parents, and community members generally perceive this motto as a unifying factor. The superintendent is credited with coining this phrase, and keeping it at the forefront of everyone's mind. A cross-sectional group of staff, parents, and community members was organized to form the Guided Coalition. This group collaboratively identified the vision and mission of the school system and began work on the district's strategic plan. Martin County's vision is, through the efforts of all, every student will be college and career ready, inspired to achieve their lifelong dreams." I typed that up for you because you'll be using that, your vision, and will you take one and pass it down, please? Take one and pass it down. And I just typed it up for you because your vision and mission that you've adopted is the goals to where you want to go. And I have a systems check that I'm going to give to you, and we'll use those goals to self-assess ourselves. But, and I know you know this, the vision is where we ultimately see ourselves. We'll know we're successful when. I'll know I've arrived when I've lost 50 pounds. You know, that's a small Well, it's the truth, but it's a joke. You know, the vision and then the mission, and I know you know this. What am I going to do every day to get to the vision? Well, I'm going to go to Weight Watchers and I'm going to walk and yeah. You know that to be true. So, but you know, the vision is what I'm going to look like when I lose that, and the mission is what I'm going to do every day until I arrive. The vision, you all said, all the Guided Coalition, it was sent out for people to vote on through the efforts of who? All. Does that include you?
Yeah.
Includes us all, don't it? Through the efforts of all, every student, how many students? Are we going to choose them? Every student will be college and career ready, inspired to achieve their lifelong dreams. Now listen, been here a year with you and I was part of this Guided Coalition. Students come in and buddy, they held us to a task. And I led the first part of that in what we believed our core beliefs were. And if I tell you I believe one way and I act another, is that my core belief?
No.
But boy, we kept going until what we believed was a core belief. What I was willing to stand up for, much like what you said.
Yeah.
What am I willing to stand up for? We've all got those things, don't we? I was so proud to be a part of that. And then from that core beliefs and all that work and those students challenging us, then at the end of the day I turned it over to superintendent because it's his, I was just assisting and supporting for the groundwork, and now he's got a mission and vision of going with a strategic plan that will encompass the entire district. So and if you'll notice and read your audit, throughout it, it speaks to the Guided Coalition. Why was it perfect? You know it's not. Why is it not perfect? Not everybody yet can tell us about it, right? We've got to continue to communicate and invite people, those type of things. Friends, we had students, we had business people, we had all kinds of people to come. Was it perfect? You know better it wasn't? Well, was it an attempt?
Yeah.
Are we trying to get somebody, instructional assistants were here, teachers? We're trying to get all stakeholders represented. I can tell you that because I was here. And I don't mean, I was here, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of what everybody's done. But anyways, it goes on to talk about the mission. So the vision, we said, through the efforts of every student, when we all come together and ensure that every student, that's when we know we're successful. And what are we going to do every day? We promised that we was going to lead with passion. That's what you see in me, I hope. And empower with promise and equip for excellence. That's what some of you students said. That's what they found, and buddy, they was picky on how it was to be written, what they served. And it goes on to talk about, yeah, you've really worked hard on instructional strategies. I'm going to tell you, Miss Lisa worked about 24/7. I know, because anything I could do to help her, it was just all the time. And things were already there, and she'd say, well, what do you think would whatever, and included me on that. So I appreciate this team in including me and letting me support and do anything. But I've learned so much from this district level people. And it goes on to talk about, because they look at leadership, they look at your superintendent, and they say he is a committed leader whose capacity to lead has brought a renewed energy to the school system. His belief in systems thinking and his unwavering focus on student achievement has increased staff accountability, clarified staff roles and responsibilities, and promoted a sense of empowerment for district staff. School system personnel are gaining confidence and trust in the superintendent. The budget has improved from being in the red to one that is balanced and in the black. Grants have been aggressively sought and secured for numerous instructional initiatives, and funding is in place to begin construction of a new high school within 2 years. None of this you don't know. Transparency is not just a buzzword, but the way of doing business in the school district. As many interviewees, excuse me? Huh?
The transparency part, yeah.
Okay, if it's not, then y'all need to work on that
Yeah, we'll work on
as a governing body.
We need to work.
Then so we'll add that to the list of what we need to work on, transparency.
Would you agree, Mr. McCoy?
Amen.
Okay? Now, transparency is not just, well, you had 10 people, not just auditors, but you had 87 stakeholders that was in agreement with all of this. So it wasn't just one person or that kind of thing, if you feel that way. I'm not sure, but we'll go on. It says, I thought that was a compliment to everybody, but okay. There's so much I don't know. I don't live here and know all, and thank goodness. I don't need to know all of anything. As many interview, I don't mean anywhere.
No, I don't either.
And I'm trying to be funny. You all not laughing at me.
No.
We're not
I'm
laughing.
laughing with you.
Okay.
You're doing a fine
I
job.
try to poke fun at
Look,
myself.
you're doing a fine
Yeah,
job.
you're doing a good job. I mean, just because I made a remark on transparency, now I don't agree with
Okay.
that, but that's.
It just leaked out of him. He didn't really mean to say it out loud.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean to say it.
Well, I want to tell you, I'm going to say that while we, as a, I feel a little ownership here because I've been here a year. And I don't, like I say, I don't know everything. But when I was interviewed, I was proud of the efforts that I saw every day. I've been here every day.
Oh, yeah.
I have the calendars to show you. I've worked with a whole lot of people. And it wasn't me working, it was them. So, and I'm going to tell you, I have the right to say to anybody, let me see this or let me see, and there's nothing that, so I'm just saying I haven't seen that and I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure.
And I know we've
Oh, I
not
understand.
arrived
Yeah.
at anything. If we have, we wouldn't have had work to do, right? Would you agree?
Yeah, correct.
So we'll add that to the list. All right?
Can I ask one question?
Please,
Maybe has an
Please.
which I've had people ask me, of course.
please,
Like I say, regaining.
help me guys, I don't know. your
Regaining
people.
your leadership capacity, which, before we discussed as far as applying for innovative district and other things, but you couldn't do that because you didn't have your leadership capacity. So I've had people say, could you just explain what does that actually mean that you've regained your leadership capacity? So if you could give me a good, solid answer, so when people ask me that. And
Carolyn, let that question be reflected, and my answer, if you don't mind, to ensure that I'm saying it correctly.
And what did it mean that we lost it?
Okay?
I mean, a lot of people have asked me, and I'm like, I really don't know.
I think I can, as an auditor myself, I think I can answer those questions. And if it doesn't satisfy you,
And whereby we regained it, what does that allow us to do?
Okay.
To lose it, you would think, people automatically think, well, did the state come in? Did everybody get fired? Everybody, because that's
it's
what you kind of
always
think when you
about
say-
that. It is, and I understand that respectfully. So the first question was, what does it mean that we regained our leadership capacity? Okay? When your PLA school dropped 3 consecutive years and to the bottom 5% across the state, year one, all schools, not just Sheldon Clark High School friends, all schools are being looked at. Especially the first time they get our attention is when you drop down, you don't meet your AMO or your graduation rate or your reading. You're not meeting any benchmarks. Your students have not, okay? I'm not saying because they met some, but when year one happens and they're down there, or maybe they didn't start at the bottom 5, they started dropping. Lawrence County, Greenup County, and all those schools. So year one, a flag comes up, they didn't meet their AMO. They didn't meet their required targets. Year two rolls around, and the flag keeps going. They drop just a little bit more, and they didn't meet their AMO in math or reading. And this is not Sheldon Clark's. I mean, all that's on line. Don't quote me specific because I won't remember. But you can look at that inside year one, year two, year three. You can go to the school report card, and it has the last 3 or 4 years. AMO met, yes, no, yes, no. By year three, you've not met, and you drop down to that bottom 5 or 10 according, then you're going to get an audit. So if ever your school, any of your schools drop back, you're going to get a what?
Another audit. Yeah.
And guess who they're coming to first?
They'll probably come to the board first.
Why?
Because.
Why shouldn't they?
Why shouldn't they? They should.
We make the policies, we enforce.
Well, we make the calls.
There you go.
Make sure it's being done.
We're coming to you
Or we got
to say, so what, you've got a high school, or you got a middle school, or you got an elementary school, or you got a combination thereof. So what are you doing, board? What are you doing, superintendent? What are you doing, curriculum assessment instruction? What are you doing, DPP? Or how's your attendance? What are you doing? You're the governing body. You're the leaders of the system. What are you doing? We're coming to you first with an audit. And not just you. We're going to your school. And then we have standard 3. I mean, you can look at it. Talking about transparent. We give you what we're coming to look at.
Yeah.
I promise. And standard 3, how you assess, what are you doing, what's the principal doing. We go and we conduct an audit. We go into your classrooms. We see what the school's doing. And guess what we ask the principal? So what support do you have from your district level personnel, from your superintendent, from your governing body, from your curriculum person?
I remember that. I remember reading that.
What's happening? And with friends, we don't come in because we ain't got nothing to do. I promise you. I give you my word.
Yeah. Oh.
But, and I mean that respectfully, friends. I've been a principal. I know how to dig it out every day. I know how to serve 16 hours a day. I promise. I know. But at the end of the day, what are we doing about anything? What are we doing about student achievement? Always. The message never changes. What are you doing? What are you intentionally doing? That message will never go away. So you need to ask yourself. All of us. And so that's how, what does it mean to get into priority status? Right there. Now there's other ways. The number one way that will land you into some trouble is what?
Finances, I'd say.
Bang. I don't care who you are. I don't care what organization you are. Finances is going to nail you. Right?
Not test scores, but finances. That's weird.
No. You're going to get nailed for test scores.
Yeah, but finances quicker.
Because it's federal. You can go to the pen, you know, if you're found guilty. So, what does it mean to get your capacity back? And there's other ways, guys. People might report to OEA, other legal people and say, you know what, I tell you what, that Carolyn Spangler down here, I tell you, she's arriving every day, but I'm not seeing anything that she's done. I want to report her because she's not doing a good job. Or Carolyn Spangler is the principal at so-and-so school, and I tell you right now, her test scores are, I mean, friends, we live in America. You can sue, report as often, as many times on anything. And I make it light, but it's serious. It's serious. So you get enough phone calls to OEA or somebody like that, you know, they're coming. I mean, as a former principal, I was reported to, what was it? Some kind of organization on a regular basis for changing somebody's schedule, which I had the right to do, because I have enough legal background to help me understand legalities, and I do fair across the board, changed everybody's schedule, so. And that was 100 years ago, so I've had that experience. So what does it mean to regain your capacity? Well, the improvement priorities are your guide. Let the minutes reflect that I'm saying those are shalls. We shall do something about it intentionally. Now, this is the minimal, the foundation of your work, right? Because we're just overviewing. We're going to get to the end of it. I'm going to leave you some tools and those type of things. But your next steps is up to you. Because tonight we didn't solve anything but have some conversation. So, if a school or schools drops back down, we're coming back and saying, what are you doing, what are you doing, what are you doing? Now,
Can I interject something?
please, help me.
I'm going to try to summarize the great details that you gave there. The leadership capacity, the team came in and said, here's what you're not doing, this is what you have to do to fix it. They came back in
2 years later.
and nothing was done. So that's when the capacity to lead was taken. I mean, it's as simple as that.
It is.
The team comes in and says, here's the data, financial, academic, whatever it is. Here's what you need to do to fix it. It's that simple. And it wasn't done. So that's what robbed the districts of their leadership capacity.
That's true.
And when we come back in, so guys, when we look at these improvement priorities or anything else, what they're saying is here's what it is. Here's what you need to work on. And as long as we're working on these improvement priorities, we're demonstrating our leadership capacity to work on these things and make them better. And it doesn't mean that other areas are not going to get all the attention they need. You know, if we've addressed the instruction and content, for example, or our grad rate, you know, 3 years from now or 2 years from now, it might slap back down. Think about that red light, green light, yellow light. You know, it's on green light now. Some of these things are on green light. 14 improvement priorities, and we took care of 8 of them.
You're down to 6.
We're down to 6. So we stopped the bleeding, and we're yellow and we're green. We're going in the right direction. So to lose the leadership capacity, the team comes in, whether it's a KDE, whether it's a state audit, whether it's the financial audit that we had when I came here, or the attendance audit. Auditors come in and say, here's what it is, here's what you need to do to fix it. If they come back and you ain't done nothing, is that proper English?
Yeah.
You ain't done nothing. That's
Communication took place.
you lose that capacity. And you're kind of like on probation. So we were on probation, and when they came back in this time, it wasn't that we aced everything and we arrived at everything. It's just that we demonstrated as a district and as a governing body that we make tremendous improvements in these areas, and we're going in the right direction.
And thank you, Superintendent. That's so much better than I've been
No,
all over the place. That's just the truth, because the only reason I got to come, is because you get ready to have another one. So I needed to come.
And Carol and I hit it off immediately.
We did, because you'd already worked toward, I come in with a list. And what was my list? My improvement priority.
I was whipping a chair.
Yeah. But, friends, for KD come in and left improvement priorities. That's the reason why I said there shall. Nobody did anything. They come back and they were like, nothing? Yeah, well, we're coming back. So, what happens when you don't do that, you could go under state assistance or state control. And you'll have no control, and your super won't have any control. That is very possible. Look at Breathitt, look at Menifee. I could go on and on. It's all on KDE's webpage.
Well, you have more as far as making your own decisions rather than the state making them for you.
Well, Gary mentioned a moment ago, Breathitt County, they're still under state management. And they have been for 2 or 3 years. And the community's they're not proud of that, they don't want that. And
nobody wants it.
Nobody wants that.
Well, when we first went into PLA status, Sheldon Clark, one of the things that I noticed that was very, very different for this district that distinguished it, at least at the district level, was the assignment of a district coach. And that was Susan Allred. I mean, it seemed like that we were just that far from being, I mean, just, you know, that we would have the leadership capacity if these were the following things that they went through. And that was a district coach, which I called almost like a coach. Well, okay.
I would challenge you with that because, and respectfully so, I would challenge you that because if you have capacity, and you did at that time, the improvement priorities left you with a roadmap of exactly what to do. You didn't have to necessarily have a Susan Allred, but it does help to have someone to coach and assist and support.
Okay,
But the thing of it is, guys, you have the power with, you don't, if you'd find out a way to work together united, you have your own answers.
Yeah,
this is your district, these are your children, these friends, this is your place.
So at one time, we were very close to being
Why weren't we?
state controller.
I'm just trying to figure out why weren't we, if they gave a list and nothing happened.
Nobody did anything.
Right, well, if no one did anything, when they came back, why didn't they say?
2 years.
Because I can answer that. Your high school, wherever it's located, was improving.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Robbie helped us.
You did a great job. And
Robbie
along with
did
the teachers and the
It
students.
takes everybody.
Robbie
You take
did a
that
great job.
leader out, you take those teachers out, it takes us all.
Yeah.
And when we understand that, there's nothing that's not within your power.
Well, I noticed that Robbie did the red zone thing, some other things up there that they liked, that even the audit was kind of critical because they said, well, he implemented these things and said there's really no kind of testing that's being done.
You have to take it all the way around the
perfection.
circle. In order, it's what I would go back to. How do you progress monitor yourself to see if you're doing a good job?
Big key was,
But then-
there's no proof or no data or documentation.
And see, like you were talking about how Terry Simpkins thought, well, we'll do it during scheduling. Robbie, I remember when we would bring the children through to drop them off, there he stood with the surveys.
Well, the thing
Or at
for red-
basketball games, he would come up in the stands and offer free pop or free
Well, in the
popcorn
red
if they would
zone-
complete
Get to
a
people
survey.
how you can get to them.
Yeah, well, the red zone was later, determined to be effective. I mean, it was recognized by the
State,
commissioner.
they went
Yeah,
to-
they were very impressed.
Yeah.
It was recognized and then it was cut down.
I didn't know, why would it be cut down?
It's still, no, I
Cut
think it's
down.
still.
No, it's phenomenal.
I think
It's
still
amazing.
going.
Is
Yeah.
it?
I don't know.
It's what now?
Data is what they were cut down on. They did not have data
The
that
data
showed
room.
what the red zone.
Oh, the first audit, yeah. But I'm saying it's a showplace.
Yes.
It's a show, friends.
Once you got data.
It's a
data
showplace.
and
That's amazing.
Yeah, once you got data and documentation to go with it.
It's wonderful.
But that's what it was.
It's absolutely something. You
So
got
that's
a
why
lot
this
to.
office wasn't taken over, is because the high school was doing so well?
Well, I can't speak because they were making improvement.
I just wondered if it came
You
so
kind
bad.
of got an opportunity to, you got an opportunity. Can't answer for the commissioner.
There's two tracks, one's financial, one academic. I mean, either one the state would come in and.
Finances were fine, were okay, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, or whatever.
At one time,
You're-
finances were not fine.
oh,
There were 600,000 projected to be by the end of the fiscal
By-
year.
in that audit, yeah.
$900,000 in red.
Well, the whole thing about it is we shut down the high school, so that saved us bukus of money.
Yeah.
I mean, that was,
So, and I think that's, did I hit them all? Oh, I got one more.
So what was your question?
Oh,
About,
She told me.
I've almost went 2 hours, I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. I just have ball.
On the back at page 31, 11, it tells the school system expressed confidence, etc. And it talks about the Sheldon Clark had made significant improvements, but here's some areas that they continuously need to improve on. We all have those areas. Improvement priority on page 31 says the institution should use the findings from this. Let's speak to this. The institution should use the findings from this review to guide the continuous improvement process. The institution what? What's the word? Must, underline, highlight, whatever, must address the improvement priorities listed below. Okay? And then it goes over them once again. Last but not least, I'm not, I don't know how, if you will grant me further time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been after Mr. Meadows to let me bring this. It's a lot of work, and he said, Carolyn, just whenever you want to, bring it on. So we finally, I thought it was a perfect timing. I want to give you the school systems check. And you notice it is specific to the school board. Now, let the minutes reflect, you own this tool. It is a tool. It's not for me or KDE. I've used it with a lot of other people, administration. There's different levels. There's school level, there's teacher level, and those type of things. I gave you one, sir, I believe. So, and you can look at it, but you don't get to fill it out because it's the school board, in all due respect. Now, what I would ask that you would be so kind to do is to look at this individually, and I want you to do a rating of your current B.O.E. You've been a group, you've been a B.O.E. board, governing body since what, January, February, March, April's almost over, and just look at the school board as a system and answer honestly as to the current status. Now, when you do that, it's based on 7 categories of highly effective businesses, systems, and it's based on Malcolm Baldrige, who served under President Reagan. It is a systems check of how is the system doing. The first one is leadership, 1.1, and there you see the different categories under leadership. And then the second one is strategic planning. The third one is customer focus. Fourth one's measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Workforce focus, and it has your questions there. Operations focus, and results. On the back, it asks you board general indicators. It says, number 1, the board works with the superintendent and staff in a climate of professionalism and mutual respect. You have a category that says not yet, progressing, proficient, or advanced. Would you care to mark that as I go through it? As to yourself. This is your copy. This is not coming back to me. It's yours. Okay? If you do that. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, you know, I can't make it. Number 2, it's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
This is about the board, and I'm going to talk to you as I leave it with you. And I think I have an idea that your board chair could conduct this process ever so often to see how you're doing. Today will be the first rating, or next time we meet, second rating. It's hot in here. We're getting tired. I've talked at you. But look at number 2. Board members communicate with district staff using the approved procedure. Now, if you don't have one, should you get one?
Yes.
Is it something that would help?
Do we have one?
The board has the board members communicate with district staff using the approved procedure.
I don't really, I mean, does that mean teachers, central office?
District staff, that's
One of the things that we do is when we have the site days come in, we have created for the board.
what's the procedure for that? How do you go and talk to a principal? Do you go to the schools? Do you?
Should be able
whatever?
to, without being reported.
Yeah, we have.
I don't think that's, they don't let you at the school level. I was just using that as a, I don't think so. That's not a best practice, is it? Yeah.
That's not a best practice to visit the school. I mean, just to go over now.
Well, I think what they said is that would interfere at the school level, or could interfere at the school level.
You can't even.
I don't know, you can put that in a question form. You've been board members a lot longer than I've been working with boards.
Yeah.
So,
Which I don't go like. So
number 3, the board has adopted and practices the board practices the board code of ethics. When's the last time you looked at your code of ethics? They're in your packet of, I'm just saying, I'm asking the question.
Yeah, you've got it. Well, the KSBA, yeah.
I mean, do you do it one time and done?
Actually,
I know another board I worked with, and they read it at so many, they read the code of ethics and all that stuff, and they have process and procedures, and they post it on the web page of, if you want to speak in an open meeting, here's what you do, fill out the form, the board chair record. I mean, it's just things like that, that they do in other districts. Number 4, the board exhibits ethics, integrity, flexibility, and tact when working as a board. The board supports the superintendent and district in using a systems approach to continuous improvement to improve departments, schools, and classrooms. That's one of your processes. You have schools report via SPDM, student achievement, the attendance dashboard, and those type of things. Number 6, the board is accessible and responsive to the superintendent, staff, and other stakeholders. Number 7, board members use the district process and chain of command to resolve problems and complaints. The board works as a team in leading the district. The board makes decisions to support the district priorities and not individual board member agendas. The board builds and maintains relationships with other governmental agencies. The board builds and maintains relationships with the community. The board incorporates core values, which is best practices in board operations. The board demonstrates fiscal responsibility and a management of the budget. The board provides for adequate district facilities. I will leave you with this. This is a tool, has all these categories. If my next step is that you would do this individually, and we come together in a working session and we go through each one. That's what I would do. However, totally up to you. I'm going to give you one more tool. If you'll notice as well, before I leave you with this tool, and it is a tool that people use across the state and in other states. Action plan, it says, upon analyzing the results of the systems check, the following key strengths and good opportunities for improvement have been identified. A way you could self-assess, what do you think your strengths are as a governing board, and what do you think your opportunities for improvement, and then actually do something about it differently. And then it says, maybe we will assess board progress on this when. 2 months from now, 3, quarterly. That's up to you. That's just a tool. Individually, and have open discussion. You don't ever have to reveal your work to anybody. Okay? It's yours. And you have, so you have a discussion. Last but not least, the plus delta. You have been introduced to that. It's a tool to evaluate yourself, your working session, your board meeting, whatever. What specifically was helpful about, like today, my work with you, let's do an oral plus delta. What has helped you today in our working together? Has anything helped? Has this work helped at all? If so, how specifically? And if it's not, that's a delta. Well, she didn't explain, it took too long, the room, you know, whatever. It's a tool, and guess what? Here's what's working specifically. Here's not what's not. And here's our next steps on every tool you have, friends. You should say, this went well, we need to improve here, and here's what we're going to do next. And I know I've talked at you, and I apologize. It's a lengthy overview, and I thank you for your kindness and your patience, Superintendent.
Well, can I add one thing, Ms. Famer?
Please.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we have to consider that at the time that our school slipped into PLA status and our district slipped into the thing of almost losing its capacity to govern, board meetings were very rarely attended. You know what I mean? I mean, you didn't have, you know, how many people would show up? You know, not many, Kathleen, is that correct? Not a lot.
Well, we have had some big board meetings.
Yeah, things are considerably different now, and that there are, and I do realize that some of the meetings have gotten hairy. I mean, they've gotten really, really bad. But the alternative, the thing of limiting that, I don't want it to ever go back to where it would be, you know, 15 minutes and you're done. You know what I mean? You come in 15 minutes, yeah. I make a review, you know.
Then you all should have that common language and conversation.
Yeah.
That says whatever. And if we're supposed to be talking about finances, and you get off on Carolyn Spangler, naming her, and that she stinks as a basketball, whatever, or a football, or an academic coach, then chairperson goes, the item's finances.
Yeah, we've had it.
Have what? Have you done that?
No,
Oh,
because she's the new chairman.
Or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just an example, friends.
And that's happened in past meetings. I'll admit that.
But I'm saying you're in control. Do something about it. Write up how you want to run your board. It's supposed to be ethical first, professional, and you do want the audience to speak. So why not have a process in Letcher County where I'm from? I had to walk in if I wanted to speak. I signed my name and gave a little bit of what I wanted to speak about. I'm not telling you to do that, but we did. And then when it come my turn, if I went over 5 minutes or whatever, the board chair would say, "Thank you, Ms. Spangler. We'll take it into consideration." Something like that.
We're working on a process.
Yeah, we're working on a process. Yeah,
Right now, each of us have got a draft that the superintendent gave us, and we're marking it up and bringing it together and seeing how
Having a
they compare.
conversation about.
So we are doing that particular
part of the
thing
thing is
because-
having agendas that are way too long, or way too big. You know, a 5-hour meeting and not get to everything is pretty tough.
Well, it's 6 hours and 15 minutes.
6 hours, okay. Yeah, it was 6 hours, that's right, because I didn't.
I will, I do apologize for going significantly over.
I just want you to know,
Yours
I
was
appreciate what you've done as far as helping us, as far as getting our leadership capacity. I think you've done a great job. Appreciate it very much.
I thank you,
And I'm not
Roger.
trying
Don't give me
I'm not
credit.
trying to flex.
No, I even called your office down there to leave you. I wanted you to know that I greatly appreciate the training sessions that you had for us.
Well, I thank you. I've tried to work with everybody, and I don't have an ulterior.
Apparently you've been pretty successful.
You had to be. I mean, you take a bunch of roads like that.
In the diagnostic review.
Remember, none of us have arrived yet.
I know, none of us arrived, you're right.
I have arrived at one place, ma'am.
Are these your highlights?
I'm not.
Anything else, Mr. Meadows? If I can be of service to you, I'll be here through the May 22nd. So, thank you.
Okay.
Do I need to sign something, or Mr. Meadows will sign it, he's the superintendent, he's got
Okay, at this time, I
he's
need
got
a
the
motion
power.
to dismiss.
I have arrived.
He has a right for his signature.
Need a motion.
I'll make a motion
Okay, I
to
need a
adjourn.
second.
Yeah,
I need a vote.
Vote.
yeah, I second the motion, adjourn.
I need a vote.
Okay.
Aye.
We're sitting here talking about.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
I'm gonna get you a gavel, Kathleen.
I'm gonna do so.